Avast there. It be too late to alter course, mateys.
Hey everybody, this is Connor with Rock Pirates RC. Today we're going to be going over my Rock Pirates RC Interceptor Vanquish Pheonix build. This one is the portal axle Pheonix, and we're just going to hop in with this and get started. Started off with a Vanquish Products Pheonix kit and took the axles and links out of it. You can use the transmission too. I didn't use the transmission I used the regular Vanquish VFD transmission, not the twin. But if you want to use the Vanquish VFD twin, Harley Designs has the Servo mounting bracket file on his website. You can 3D print and then it just bolts right into the truck as well. So yeah, starting off with this, we can hop right into it. So I went with the Proline cliffhanger single cab body, and then with the hardline bed. So with this truck, just went with the standard, I think these are the gray anodized Interceptor aluminum rails, and try and get you guys a better view here a little bit. And and then I went with the Reefs RC 1100 Smart Servo and the Reefs 299 LP Servo winch. This is my comp truck that I use for the Class 2 comps out in Utah in the Utah Comp Series. So I got my servo winch for that. And like I mentioned earlier, just running the regular Vanquish VFD transmission. It's not a twin, so it doesn't have your front dig, and it doesn't have your shiftable overdrive. It's just standard. And then I did put the overdrive gears in the transmission and overdrive gears in the portal axle. So I think this one's running somewhere around 20 to 30% overdrive. I haven't calculated it yet, but I think that's where it's at. And then running the Hobbywing Fusion Pro. This is the motor that I'm running in this truck. The Pro fits perfect in the Vanquish VFD twin. So threw that in there. It's what we use in pretty much almost every build. They're just super smooth, just great motors. And then, so as far as the build goes, so just got the Vanquish kit, took the axles and the links from it, and got the skid and VFD transmission. And it's pretty straightforward. Everything bolts straight in. There's really nothing special about assembling this truck with this chassis. The only thing that I'll really mention is the panhard setup. Obviously with our panhard mount, you can flip it one way or the other depending on the truck that you're using it on. So that's for when you're using the Pheonix, that's the way you want to flip it. And then spacing your servo is also important. You can't just put the servo on top of the servo tray. You'll have interference problems. So all of these are designed to be shimmed. You can see I have some really small shims underneath my servo. Not all servos are the same though, so your servo could be different. You might need bigger shims or smaller shims, it just depends. And then in the Vanquish Pheonix Interceptor builds, you're going to be using our on our website the Element servo tray. So that's what we use for all of our Element Enduro in the stock frame rails and when we're doing Element Enduro Interceptor builds. So you'll use the Element servo tray in your Pheonix builds. That's what we use with these trucks. So then also, if you want to take a look right here where that panhard bar is placed on the chassis, because that's important. That's the perfect position right there where you're not going to have interference with your servo horn or anything. So just take note of the holes that this panhard is mounted to in the side of the chassis right here. And then as far as everything else goes, I would just, this is a really simple swap. For this build, what you'll need is, here's that element servo tray that I was talking about just now. So you'll need one of these. And then you'll need your Interceptor frame rails, so you can pick whatever color you want. You can use the gray, silver, blue. We have lasered ones now, so whatever color you guys prefer, that's what, just grab one of those. And then right here we got our Rock Pirates RC chassis braces, our cross mounts. So underneath the truck you could see this better. I have one right here underneath the bed, and then I have one on the back of the chassis, and I think that's pretty much it on this chassis. I would recommend using more, but that's all I have on this. And then optional part right here that I also use for bracing is our X mount. We highly recommend using these. I have one on the back right here. It just helps stiffen up the chassis, and then also if you want, you can use it to mount a spare tire on there. If you want to use it for getting more Sorka points, you can do that. Next thing right here that you'll need is our Rock Pirates RC body post mounts. You will need these. So these go right here. They just bolt straight onto our chassis rails, and you put your body posts in it so that way you can mount your body. I just have two in the front on this truck because it's a cab only truck, so I don't need them in the rear. And then next thing you'll want to grab is get some of our spacer packs. I suggest grabbing 2 of these, just because usually you'll use some for shimming the servo. Sometimes you'll use them for in between your shocks. You will put them in between your shock and your shock tower, and that spaces the shock away from the tower so the shock cap doesn't hit the tower and bind up your shocks. So so we got all those, and then whatever rock sliders you guys want. With the cliffhanger body, I'm using these 7-inch Rock Pirates RC sliders. So those are perfect for the cliffhangers on the Interceptors. And then it just depends on what body you're using. If you're using a Power Wagon body, we have Power Wagon sliders that are specific to that body. And so if you guys are curious about what width sliders you need, just measure the bottom of your body, and then if it's 7-inch, grab 7-inch sliders, 8-inch, grab 8-inch sliders, and then we've got Power Wagon and stuff. So, but overall, this is just it's a really simple build. I think it's actually one of the cheaper trucks to build, just because you only need these few select parts compared to some of the other trucks. Like I said, this one's set up to be my comp style truck, so I have this set up with the Element Enduro Factory Team shocks. We run these on most of our trucks, and then I didn't want to limit the articulation on this truck very much, so I got some D's bands right here in the front, just to kind of limit my front suspension a bit. They're not technically limiting straps, but they will help reduce your suspension going to dropping down all the way when you're doing steep climbs. But I still wanted the articulation because it's my comp truck. So this one still has a good bit of articulation in it. So it's just a good setup to run, so you're not limiting your shocks so much to try and crawl steeper stuff. So overall, this truck has been one of my favorite trucks actually that I've built. Running the Proline G8 BFG crawlers on this, and then running this one has Proline dual stage foams in it, front and rear, with some Vanquish KMC machetes on there. So yeah, overall this truck's just been awesome. This is honestly one of my favorite trucks to drive. It does some pretty wild stuff. But yeah, if you guys have any, oh yeah, and then we got some of our optional parts right here. I don't have one on my truck right here, but we have our new comp bumpers, and these sit nice and tight on the front of the Interceptor chassis, so these are a good option. Then, like I mentioned earlier, we have our X braces that you can grab one of these. You can stiffen up the chassis and mount a spare tire on it. Also, we have our roof racks right here. So if you want to put something on the roof of your truck to protect it, or even if you want to strap some stuff to the roof of your truck or get some Sorka points, that's a good piece right there. And then we have our hardline beds. That's the same bed that I'm running on this truck. I have a blue one on this. It's good for all your cab only bodies, like your power wagons and your single cab cliffhangers and everything. So yeah, if you guys need any of those parts, like I said, those parts are not necessary to do this build, but if you guys want to grab some extra parts to spice up your truck a little bit, then yeah, grab some of those. In this truck right here, I just run little 2200 milliamp or 1500 milliamp packs in here. They usually last me around an hour and a half. For my battery tray on this truck, this is a Axial SCX 10.3 battery tray. And then I put this foam insert in there. So what I did and also holds my receiver as well. What I did was I took this out of my 10.3 kit, and then I drilled holes in my rock slider and countersunk the holes, and then I just ran screws up into it underneath from here. So these are all perfectly flat on the sliders, so they're not grabbing on anything. And then yeah, I just use the 10.3 battery tray, and it works out perfect. I really like that setup a lot. So you can do that, or if you want to make it more simple, you can just grab some Velcro, put Velcro on your rock slider, and then put Velcro on your battery. That's why I have Velcro on the back of this battery right here. A lot of my trucks, I just put Velcro on my rock slider, and then I just stick them right on. So yeah, other than that, this truck's just super simple. It's a simple build. Everything bolts up nicely. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you guys taking the time to check this out. If you guys have any questions on your build or any part questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to us at our email at rockpiratesrc@gmail.com. We try to get back to our social media messages as much as we can, but it's just so hard lately to keep up with them. The best way to reach us is going to be email. So yeah, thanks to you guys for checking out this video, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.